You're sitting in a meeting. You make a point. It's clear, logical, backed by evidence. People nod. Someone says, "Good point." The conversation moves on. Nothing changes. You tell yourself they'll circle back to it. They won't. You just watched your authority evaporate in real time, and you didn't even notice. This is how power actually leaves, not with a fight, not with betrayal, not with someone openly challenging you. It dissolves quietly while you're still acting like everything is normal. And by the time you realize what happened, the game is already over. Most people spend their entire lives reacting to power shifts after they've already occurred. They feel confused, frustrated, sidelined, but they can't articulate why. They ask themselves vague questions that lead nowhere. Why does this feel harder than it used to? Why do people seem less interested in what I have to say? Why am I finding out about decisions after they've been made? These aren't random feelings, they're symptoms, and the disease has been spreading for months. Here's what nobody tells you. The world doesn't operate on fairness. It doesn't reward good intentions, clarity, or honesty by default. It runs on perception, timing, access, and strategic silence. Most people are calculating while pretending not to. Most influence happens behind closed doors. Most emotions occur without any formal announcement. And the people who don't see this coming, they're not weak. They're just perpetually late to their own funeral. The first signal, when your words stop mattering. The first sign that your power is draining happens so subtly, you'll dismiss it. You explain something. Your reasoning is sound. Your tone is measured. You're not being aggressive or unclear. You expect at minimum some kind of meaningful response. Instead, you get polite acknowledgement followed by absolutely nothing. No argument, no pushback, no debate. Your input is noted and then completely bypassed. The conversation flows around your words like water around a rock. You might get a "thanks for sharing that" or "interesting perspective," and then everyone proceeds exactly as if you hadn't spoken at all. This is not a misunderstanding. This is not poor communication. This is demotion in motion. When your explanations stop producing results, your authority has already relocated. Power doesn't waste time debating with people who can't affect outcomes. It either assumes alignment or roots around obstacles. The moment your reasoning becomes optional, you've been downgraded from decision maker to background noise. And here's where most people make their first critical mistake. They explain more, they add context, they clarify, they soften their language. They try to be more reasonable, more diplomatic, more thorough. This accelerates the collapse. Power never rewards additional effort after leverage disappears. It rewards timing before it does. When you double down on explaining after your influence is already declining, you're broadcasting to everyone that you don't understand what's happening. That signal gets logged and acted upon. The silence that used to mean something. There's a specific type of silence you need to recognize. Early in your time somewhere, when you spoke, silence meant people were listening. They were processing. They were weighing your words. They were waiting to see what you'd say next. That silence had weight because your reaction mattered. Then something shifts. You speak. The room goes quiet. No one interrupts. No one challenges. No one argues. You finish your entire thought without resistance. And then everyone proceeds with the original plan as if you hadn't said anything at all. This silence feels respectful. It feels civil. It even feels peaceful. It's none of those things. Silence only holds power when people still need your buy-in, when your approval still affects outcomes, when your response still shapes what happens next. When silence appears because persuasion is no longer necessary, it's not respect, it's bypass protocol. This is the most dangerous phase because there's no conflict to react to, no enemy to confront, no obvious threat, just irrelevance settling in quietly, wearing the mask of civility. You'll tell yourself people are just being polite. You'll rationalize it as everyone being busy. You'll convince yourself the timing wasn't right. All of these narratives protect you from seeing what's actually happening. You're being routed around. When people stop testing you. Here's a shift that feels like progress, but signals the opposite. People stop challenging you. Less friction, less resistance, less pushback. At first, this feels like relief. You think you finally earned their trust, that things have stabilized. What's actually happened is you've been categorized as safe. Safe people aren't respected. They're managed. They're predictable, contained, easy to work around. You get consulted less, not because your opinion is valued more, but because it's valued so little that including you is optional. You face less resistance, not because people respect you more, but because your potential to disrupt anything has been measured and found negligible. Powerful people attract friction. They provoke reactions because their approval or opposition materially affects what happens next. Their presence changes outcomes. Safe people absorb tension. They exist within boundaries defined by others. When people stop pushing against you, it's often because they've already calculated your range of motion and found it acceptable. The perimeter feels calm until you notice how small it's become and how little happens inside it. The language shift nobody warns you about. Pay attention to how people talk to you, not what they say, but the texture of how they say it. Conversations become excessively polite, unnaturally smooth. Everyone chooses their words carefully to avoid any friction whatsoever. Bluntness disappears. Directness evaporates. Everything gets wrapped in diplomatic packaging. This isn't kindness, it's distance. Politeness is the language people use around those who no longer need to be persuaded. When your influence becomes irrelevant, performance replaces genuine engagement. People stop being honest with those who can't affect their outcomes. Think about who gets brutal honesty in your life. It's the people whose opinions actually matter to you. Your close friends, your mentors, people whose reactions could genuinely change your decisions. Now think about who gets the sanitized, diplomatic version. Acquaintances, people you're managing, people whose feelings you're protecting because their actual input doesn't factor into your choices. You're now receiving the language that people use with the second group. That's the signal. Excessive politeness isn't a sign of power. It's often a sign that you've been downgraded from person who affects outcomes to person who needs to be handled carefully. The meeting that happened without you. This is the moment most people recognize too late. Decisions get made without your involvement, not secretly, not maliciously, simply without you. Meetings happen, alignments form, plans solidify, directions get set, and you find out afterward. Not because anyone deliberately excluded you, not because there's a conspiracy, but because your presence at the decision-making stage was simply not necessary. You get informed after the fact, and when you ask why you weren't included, people seem genuinely confused by the question. This is the clearest signal, and yet it's the one people rationalize most aggressively. It was probably just an oversight. The timing didn't work out. They must have forgotten to loop me in. Rarely. People forget to include those whose input they don't need. They remember to include those who can actually change outcomes. Power isn't about presence, it's about timing. When you're consistently brought in after decisions are finalized, you're no longer part of the structure that creates direction. You're part of the structure that receives and implements it. There's nothing inherently wrong with that role, but if you think you're in one role when you've actually been moved to another, you're operating with fundamentally broken information about your position. Most people respond to this realization with confrontation. They demand to know why they were excluded. They ask for explanations. They push for justifications. This response confirms the shift. Power doesn't ask for access, it assumes it. Once you're in a position where access must be requested and justified, leverage is already gone. The tests begin. After your influence has quietly relocated, a new pattern emerges. Small provocations, subtle dismissals, minor boundary tests. Someone makes a decision that would normally require your input, then mentions it casually afterward. Someone assigns work that overlaps with your domain without checking first. Someone contradicts you in a meeting without the usual diplomatic softening. These aren't attacks, they're reconnaissance. People are testing whether you'll react emotionally, whether you'll get defensive, whether you'll demand explanations, whether you'll seek validation. Your reaction provides data about how much power you actually have left. If you respond emotionally, if you defend yourself, if you demand respect, you've just confirmed their hypothesis. People with power don't defend their authority. They don't need to. Their position is self-evident in how others behave around them. When you find yourself explaining why you should have been included, why your opinion matters, why you deserve a certain level of respect, you've already lost. Power demonstrates itself through action and consequence, not through argument. The fatal mistake, getting louder. This is where most people make the irreversible error. They sense the shift, they feel the loss, and their instinct is to become more assertive, more insistent, more present. They believe that intensity will restore authority. It won't. Intensity without leverage is just noise. At this stage, every additional explanation, every emotional defense, every attempt to force clarity through volume only reinforces the perception that you've lost control of the situation. You're broadcasting desperation, and desperation is incompatible with power. Think about the most powerful people you know. They don't raise their voices. They don't over-explain. They don't chase validation. They speak once, clearly, and then wait. If people don't respond appropriately, they adjust strategy. They don't repeat themselves louder. Repetition signals that you weren't heard the first time, which means you didn't have the authority to command attention. Why good intentions won't save you. Here's where this gets ethically complicated, and where most people retreat into comforting delusions. Good intentions do not protect you from power dynamics. They never have. The world doesn't care about your motives. It responds to your awareness and your positioning. Ethics without awareness are fragile. They collapse under pressure. You'll get manipulated, bypassed, and repositioned while still believing that being a good person is sufficient. It's not. Strategy without ethics becomes predatory, but ethics without strategy becomes vulnerability. You're not learning this to become manipulative. You're learning this so that silence, politeness, and strategic delay can't be weaponized against you. Naivete isn't virtue. Unawareness isn't morality. They're just different forms of weakness that other people can exploit. Intelligence is the bridge between ethics and effectiveness. You can be principled and strategic. You can be good and aware. But you cannot be unaware and protected. The world will not reward your ignorance just because your intentions were pure. The window most people miss. There's a brief period where everything can change. It happens right after explanations stop working, right after silence stops carrying weight, right after you start getting informed rather than consulted. That window is where your response determines whether you recover or continue declining. The instinct is to confront, to demand clarity, to force a conversation about what's happening. That instinct is wrong. Confrontation at this stage doesn't reclaim power. It confirms its absence. Power doesn't ask for respect. It demonstrates consequence through action. Instead, here's what changes dynamics. Strategic withdrawal, less access, less disclosure, less emotional availability. Not as punishment, not as manipulation, but as recalibration. When people no longer have unlimited access to your reactions, your time, your validation, your attention, they're forced to recalculate your value. This isn't playing games. This is establishing actual boundaries based on actual reciprocity. If someone doesn't include you in decisions, but expects you to implement them enthusiastically, that's not a relationship. That's utilization. If someone doesn't value your input, but expects immediate access to your energy, that's not collaboration. That's extraction. Power responds to absence faster than it responds to arguments. When people notice they can no longer predict your reactions, they hesitate. When they realize your attention is no longer automatic, they reconsider. When they feel your energy withdraw, they notice what was there before. Why most people never recover. Most people don't recover authority once it's lost because they reach for the wrong tools. They speak when they should observe. They explain when they should withdraw. They chase clarity when ambiguity would protect them. They fill every silence when silence is their leverage. Power operates in the gaps that people rush to fill. If you immediately fill every silence, explain every absence, justify every boundary, others define the structure. But if you strategically remove yourself, the structure has to recalculate. And in that recalculation, your value can be reassessed. This doesn't mean disappearing. It doesn't mean being passive. It means becoming selectively available. You choose when to speak. You choose when to engage. You choose when access is earned rather than assumed. That shift alone changes how people position themselves around you. The physics of power. Here's the fundamental truth. Power is not seized, it's allowed. It flows toward those who don't rush to fill silence, who don't over-explain themselves, who don't chase inclusion. Those behaviors signal dependence. Dependence invites control. Independence intensified recalibration. Think about the people you respect most. They're not the ones constantly available, always explaining, forever seeking validation. They're the ones whose attention feels earned, whose time feels valuable, whose approval feels significant because it's not automatically given. You don't gain power by announcing it. You don't maintain power by defending it. You demonstrate power through selective presence, strategic silence, and the ability to remain composed while others react emotionally. Power isn't loud. Power is the person who speaks last in a meeting and changes everything with 3 sentences. Power is the person whose absence is felt. Power is the person who doesn't need to remind anyone of their position because it's obvious in how they move. What changes when you see it? Once you recognize these patterns, your entire posture shifts. You stop panicking after power is gone. You stop defending yourself emotionally. You stop chasing perceptions that no longer matter. You start designing how you enter situations, how much you reveal, when you speak, and when you remain silent. You become harder to reposition, harder to downgrade, harder to bypass. Not because you dominate conversations, but because you notice the currents before they shift. People can't easily move what is aware. Power doesn't fear aggression. It fears unpredictability paired with restraint. The moment others can't fully predict your responses, they hesitate. Hesitation creates space. Space creates leverage. This is not about becoming cold. It's not about being calculating in a way that destroys relationships. It's about operating with clear eyes in a world that will absolutely use your unawareness against you. You can be warm and strategic. You can be kind and aware. You can maintain your principles while understanding the terrain. The truth nobody wants to hear. Power rarely leaves during conflict. It leaves during comfort, when you assume goodwill, stability, and fairness. It leaves while you're busy being reasonable, diplomatic, and patient. It leaves while you're explaining yourself one more time to people who stopped listening 3 explanations ago. The world rewards awareness more than virtue. It rewards timing more than effort. It rewards strategic presence more than constant availability. These aren't pleasant truths, but they're functional truths. And you can choose to be upset about how the world works, or you can choose to operate effectively within it while maintaining your integrity. You now understand something most people realize too late. Watch the moments. Watch when your words stop shaping outcomes. Watch when silence changes meaning. Watch when inclusion becomes notification. That awareness alone changes how people move around you. This isn't about control. This is about not being quietly controlled. This is about seeing the game while it's being played, instead of figuring out the rules after you've already lost. Stay observant, stay restrained, stay strategic, and never assume that power announces itself when it leaves. It never does. It just quietly relocates to someone who is paying better attention. If this changed how you see power dynamics, subscribe. Most people learn these patterns too late. You don't have to be one of them.